Okay, so here we have the last photos of extinct animals.
When scientists first began recording species, they had to draw them. Old biology art is possibly my favorite thing that exists, mostly because it was often so horribly inaccurate. In the
Yeah,
early
looks bad.
1800s, the camera was invented, and
The
animal
first photo
documentation
of an
changed
animal.
forever. Over the past 200 years, many photos have been taken of animals that are no longer with us.
Aw, look at that little dolphin-looking
In
thing.
today's video, we're going to take a look at some of these photos and hear about how these species were tragically lost. Welcome back to All About Nature. On my channel, I try to bring nature-related content that's both educational and entertaining. If you like this type of content,
Yeah,
the two-lake wallaby stood
two-lake
about 100
wallaby.
meters tall and inhabited
That's not the last
grasslands
photo
in
ever.
Western Australia.
It's a painting.
This elegant and beautifully marked species was described in 1846. But sadly, due to the rapid human expansion in the area at the time, the species was reduced to drastically low numbers by the 1920s. In an attempt to
I want to see the last photo.
and only 4 made 24, captive animal died.
Oh, there it is. Tail.
This is the last picture of the species in captivity. A lone female.
Damn, the last one. Or the last photo.
This subspecies of the plain zebra was totally
The
unique to
plain
its markings.
zebra. Interesting.
Instead of being covered in stripes, the quagga stripes were restricted to the front half of the body. And instead of being white, preferring grasslands and arid interior scrubs, the last images of the quagga.
Look at that. The last photo.
When she died in 1883, it was seen as a small issue.
Why?
So simply requested a new specimen be caught.
The zoo one, the new
The
one.
last wild quagga had died about 5 years earlier. And with the loss of this Amsterdam specimen, the quagga was gone forever.
The quagga.
There are efforts to breed the quagga back into existence.
Why? They are pretty. Passenger pigeon. This one.
Pigeon went from extinct rapidly. Things hunting practice is Martha.
Martha.
Passenger pigeon. And her photo was taken in
The last one ever.
With her death, the passenger pigeon was gone, and the ecosystems of the United States would never be the same again.
Really?
I also made a video about the passenger pigeon, which you can check out.
Carolina.
Another
Parakeet.
iconic American bird species to go extinct is the Carolina parakeet. It was the only indigenous parrot species on the plains of the continent, and there is evidence that it used to even stray into southern Canada. These gregarious birds likely used to number
Oh,
in the
look at their
millions,
eyes.
and they fed on
They
fruits
fly?
and the seeds. The parakeets
That's the last
themselves
one.
became
The man's
toxic,
hand.
causing predators such as house cats to die from eating them.
That's crazy.
Evidence also shows that the species had been declining naturally since the end of the last ice age. And by the trade, ultimately their extinct population was known. They were This was kept in the same cage that Martha had been kept in, who was the last passenger pigeon. And Incas died in 1918. Only.
Paradise parrot.
Speaking of parrots, one of the most strikingly marked was the paradise parrot of eastern Australia. These beautiful birds lived in pairs or in small family groups, and they nested in termite mounds. Being that the species was never extremely common, and due to how remote much of its habitat was, the species' demise is a bit of a mystery. It could have been from cattle grazing, or from land being burned. Well, nation had practiced in 1922.
It's the last
It's a
photo.
photo of a wild bird as it enters its nest. Sadly, the last official sighting of the species was in 1927.
I want to see a big one. Oh, here we go. Barberry Lion.
The Barberry lion was considered a distinct subspecies of African lion that lived in the desert regions of north. Biggest episode. These are like Egyptian gods as a
Let's
great
see the
mountain.
photo.
but with the rest of them was shot and killed in the 1960s.
1893.
This image,
That thing's
from an
huge.
airplane as someone flew over the Atlas Mountains, is often considered the final photo of the lion.
Don't forget to check out Spother
because of its
Studios.
beautiful composition.
It's not what I expected here.
Shark.
Luckily, this is a sandbar shark, one of the
Won't do
least
anything.
aggressive species around here. But he's a reminder that there could be others around, so it's time to get out of the water fast.
Oh, I didn't even get anything.
But I'm not giving up. In any survival situation, you've just got to keep on trying. And if that doesn't work, then come up with a new plan. I'm going to try a traditional technique that's used by Pacific Islanders. I'm looking for a plant that can be used to poison fish. The tuber plant is common throughout the Pacific. It has distinctive oval leaves and is found near coastlines. The poison is in the roots. You want to use only fresh, small roots, as they are the most toxic. Fish often get trapped in little rock pools like this at low tide, and what I'm doing here is just crushing up this tuber root to get the oils out of it. And this is so cool. This. What you do, really mash it, and then just shake all of this into this water. Within minutes, any fish caught by this should float to the surface. The plant and root system contains rotenone, a
That's
natural
cool.
toxin used for centuries by indigenous people for harvesting fish.
Small
The
ass
poison
fish.
has no effect on human beings, so the fish are safe to eat. Cool, well that's 8, and that's dinner.
It's a tiny dinner.
Now I've actually caught these fish, I need to cook them. And what I'm going to do is bake them in what's called an emu, and that's a traditional Hawaiian rock oven. And this is something I've always wanted to do, but I've just never normally had the time to spend to do it properly. And what you do, first of all, just dig a pit like this. So I'm going to use my giant nose tweezers that I made earlier, which are quite cool. And I
Big
can
chopsticks.
pick some of these rocks up, place them in here, and these are now really hot. And it's these that are going to slow bake the fish once I've wrapped them up. And these rocks will stay hot for hours and hours and hours, and sand is a really good insulator. The way I'm going to do these fish is to wrap them in these tea tree leaves. And these tea tree leaves are really important actually to Polynesian people. They're known for their medicinal qualities, anti-aging, always good. But more importantly, they're going to make it taste nice and keep all the moisture. And this is going to be the very center of what's really the ultimate steamer. And what I'm going to do then is tie one end together. And that's ready to go into the oven. And what I do is use some of these leaves here just to line the bottom of the oven. Put the bundle in there. More leaves on the top. And then
What's he doing?
basically leave it. And this, in about an hour, should be ready. I can't wait.
He's so excited.
While that's cooking, I'm going to extract some oil from coconut flesh that will protect me against the sun and salt water. And what I'm going to try and do is then crush it and get the oil out of it. I'm never going to get it looking as smooth as like sun cream, but I just want to crush it enough so the oil seeps out of it. And it's this oil that I'm going to use just to protect me against all the salt water, chafing and the sun. And then all I need to do is get a little bit of it, rub it in my hands, and then rub it onto my skin like this. And you see the oil coming off, and that's going to give me good protection. My fish should now be cooked.
I still don't think it's very tasty.
Just the little fish eyes have popped out. I don't know if you can pull one of them out. The fish eyes have popped out, and that's a sign that they're ready.
Oh,
But these
I
are
eat
just
sand, bro.
raw. And this is gonna be
Sand's all
good.
sandy.
You could stay on an island like this indefinitely.
Pretty cool though.